why don't you start off, Jenny, by telling us how you came to be in the hemp industry?
Absolutely. So in 2017, I was diagnosed with a bowel disease, and the pharmaceutical drugs were actually really playing havoc for me. So I had to start looking at alternatives, and right then I had hemp and cannabis all around Facebook. So I decided to just look at some research, and a beautiful green fairy sent me a CBD balm for my bowel disease, just to try and stop the pain, because the pharmaceutical drugs weren't.
Yeah.
I had a bleeding bowel for 4 years. I did turn critical not long after that, but the balm had very fast effect, and it surprised me, because I want to be honest, I didn't want to be the typical stoner hippie that everyone uses cannabis for, because I'd given up smoking cannabis when I left my first marriage 12 years earlier. So I was reluctant, but this balm really worked. And as my disease progressed, because of the 16 pills a day, it started kicking my kidney into not functioning and my liver playing up. And I have a genetic heart disease with a beautiful machine stuck in here. And so my whole body just started to play up. And so I had to start asking for more information about hemp and cannabis, because I think the three of them had quite an important role in my healing journey. Putting hemp seeds that I could buy over the supermarket was pretty easy, but it didn't actually do enough for me. So I needed to ask around about cannabis so I could make my own balm, because I didn't want to be buying it from someone I didn't know. I didn't want to be sourcing it from people I don't know where they get it from. And I've now got chemical toxicity thanks to all those chemicals the doctors gave me. I needed to know that I was going to go organic and try and save my body. And my first recipe came to me quite quickly, and it was not just pure cannabis, but it was some flat herbs, calendula and kawakawa, and the roots of a cannabis plant, the stems of a cannabis plant, and the leaves of a cannabis plant. And I just brewed them how I was suggested on Facebook, good old Facebook media, and it had massive effects, to the point where my bowel specialist saw a change in my bowel colonoscopy scans. So he had known me for 6 years, and he had a scan done about 6 months into my cannabis products, and he asked me whose bowel did I borrow, because the scar tissue had been healed. There was no area of scarring where my cancer had even been removed now 16 years ago. My whole bowel had changed itself. And I said to him that I've just changed my diet, and I've added cannabis and none of his drugs anymore. And
okay, let's just back up for a bit there. So what did you do with your diet? What was it exactly that you changed there?
I took out all processed food. I went to plant-based as much as I could, because I'm a farmer's daughter, and I noticed that my dad wasn't quite keen on me going vegan, but I did remove gluten first, and then dairy. Dairy products had the biggest effect on my kidney, and the swelling in my bowel, inflammation in my body. So changed the whole mind, whole body, whole plants is how I had to go.
Okay, let me see if I got this right. You had a friend, they gave you some balm, you rubbed the balm on your abdominal region, and then when you, over a period of time, and then when you went back to the doctor, he was so surprised that you had done, it seems amazing that you could affect your bowel just by rubbing balm into it.
It took me by surprise, because my medicine was only about coming on the outside, because I didn't want it on the inside, because I wasn't quite around the head space, and I didn't want to get stoned if I put cannabis in my body. But however, I learned pretty quickly, because somebody else was using my balm, and then she said she didn't like the beeswax, so could I give it to her without the beeswax added? And so she got it, and strangely enough, she started taking a few drops under her tongue, and then I learned a new way of making my medicine a different way. So at the beginning it was on the outside, and now I realize the whole goodness is about inside and outside. You've got to come from both avenues. And if I'm chronic, which I have been, unfortunately, because I'm now 4 years past death date, thank you, cannabis, I would make suppositories at the worst case times. So I've always used it both ways now.
Wow, funny you should talk about suppositories, because I've actually given them a shot myself. I did it for sleeping, and it was really experimental, and I should probably do some more, but I had a good result. And what happened was I would make up some suppositories, and then one I would put in my navel, one I would swallow, and the other one I would stick up my butt. And then by the morning, well, the one in your navel, that melts pretty quickly, like within 15, 20 minutes. And then the one that's going through your digestive system, that's going to kick in, what, 2 hours or something. And then the one in your butt, that sort of like pretty much starts happening fairly quickly. But you got to watch out when you stand up in the middle of the night that you haven't got a bowel full of coconut oil and hemp, or else it'll go everywhere.
So why I had to experiment with the oils I was using as the carrier, because I want best absorption, to be honest, into my body. I don't like a greasy feeling on my body.
Yeah.
And I don't want to spend all day on the toilet when I've spent 6 years on it, to be honest. Okay. So I've learned that I make pea-size suppositories, so it's only a pea.
Yeah. Yeah.
And even for my, I can now say, endometriosis ladies, they use that pea internally, the front passage as well. Now, we put it at nighttime because you're laying still and your body's absorbing it, and it's getting 70% absorption, whereas we've found out now by all our research, you're only getting 7 to 17% absorption into the belly via the gut, but we get 70 if we're coming up through the bowel. I had a bowel disease. I have no longer bowel cancer because I had that removed when I was quite young, but I'm going to use it to the fastest, quickest. When you're suffering in pain, you'll take it any way you can.
Yeah. So what happened was you got some balm from someone, it worked so well, you decided, I got to make my own balm.
Yeah. I had to research. I had to look after myself. I believe the word healthy is heal thyself.
Yeah.
So,
and what kind of person, now that you've made it, what kind of person should be taking it?
So I have two products. I have the oil and I have the balm. And now both of these are for multi conditions. This balm is incredible for mild pain and for eczema and skin conditions and anything that's a mild condition. However, you said sleep. If you put it on the soft part of your feet, you're going to sleep all night like an angel. Did you just apply it to your body in a different way? And that one there puts me to sleep all night. But the oil, this here was originally just for pain, but then a lady came to me with breast cancer, and I tweaked the recipe a little bit, and she came to me to say that they were removing her breasts. She still has them 2 years later. If it's to do with her mind being in the right state, that she's going to keep her breasts and not listen to the doctors and chop away, and the cannabis and the loving application, it had to be applied, not with I need to heal myself, I am going to be well. I believe it's all in a holistic approach of our applying our medicine. Pharmaceuticals are too quick to write a prescription and give you a pill, but don't actually find out what the underlying matter is. And that's where we know that hemp and cannabis work with the underlying matter, because now with 4 years of research with my head, my body and everyone else's, our body needs those cannabinoids clicking along with hemp and cannabis.
Yeah. So what's the name of your products?
So this one is called Pink Magic. And this is actually, I've got to say, now working incredibly in some doctors with Parkinson's patients. I have had an incident where Auckland Brain Rehab, and I won't get names mentioned, they contacted me because a patient was sneakily taking this product and they couldn't understand how her inflammation levels dropped so drastically. So now we've got 3 in brain rehab using Pink Magic applications externally, because we don't encourage internally unless you feel okay about it. And that's your choice, because until the law changes, I can't say you should take it internally. And I'm going to be honest there. I've got a doctor that has also got 14 of his Parkinson's patients taking it. And I'm loving the anxiety patients, the PTSD. I had this young man, I'm brave. I set up a stall outside chemists, and a young boy had drops to his temple, and he says, I hate shopping because he's got major PTSD. People pick on him because he's autistic. And he says, and they hassle me. And when he came back from shopping, he sat there and looking at me, smiled. And I was a bit worried, thinking he had a reaction, was a bit high. And I was like, are you okay? Are you okay? He says, I've just done shopping and I did it with a smile and I'm going to go home and play music. And he just cried because he's never done it so happily before. That tells me that this is not a harmful plant to anybody, because they want to just not be taking those drugs. The chemists are making the side effects worse than the condition they're needing the pill for.
Yeah.
Cannabis has got no side effects except calmness. CBG is a food suppressant. So if you've got a CBG, you're not going to get hungry. You know, if you're hitting the THCs in your medicines, you are going to get hungry. But we know now temperatures make different medicine. We learn to make our medicines how our body needs it. Great. And what it needs it for.
And so you talked about that particular product. The other one, that's the balm. Does that have a similar makeup?
This is only CBD. I want to say this is full spectrum. This does include 7 different strains of flowers. And why I pick 7 different strains is because if we just stick with one strain, we can get a tolerance. And I like mixing it up because they all have different properties in them that help different conditions. So that one's 7 strains. This one here is leaf and stalks and roots. I call it the CBD, whereas this is a full spectrum because I have no flowers here. And that's 4 different strains. Again, because I don't like to get a tolerance. If you have the same smoke continually, it doesn't do anything. And I feel the same with cannabis. We need to keep changing the strains so we don't get a tolerance.
Okay. And as far as feedback goes, you've had some good feedback through the doctor with the, what was it, dementia patients?
The dementia patients, we're actually having Parkinson's.
Oh, that's a type of dementia.
What about this doctor is he didn't realize that he had of his patients on my medicine and I'm not on my plant-based products, not medicine, plant-based products, because it's just a plant. And he had to ask a gentleman, what's the story? You've got your brain back, you've not got fog, you've actually not shaking anymore, your family are really enjoying you, you're not moody and grumpy. And the gentleman says, I'm not sure if I should tell you because it's still illegal. And so the doctor ended up finding out that there was a few different patients that are all seeing me at the same time. And we had quite a few of them in the Parkinson's. And it's taking the shakes out of their bodies because the neurological pathway is calmed down. Because if you put a dot on the top of the neck and the base of the spine, it sends your meridian line and your neurological line into calmness, and they can actually start functioning again and not shaking like they do. Incredible. It's incredible.
That sounds great. So
it's also the anti-inflammatory in cannabis. Anti-inflammatory in cannabis is stopping a lot of these conditions because they're all to do with inflammation.
Yep. And if people want to get in contact with you, what's the best way to do that?
They can actually just get me through Jeni de Jonge on Facebook, and I actually have a Mama Jen's with that gorgeous logo.
Mm-hmm.
And on Facebook, my phone number's on there as well. And I'm happy to talk to people, because not everybody is going to suit the medicine I make. That's why we have to learn how to make our own. It's why we all need to get hemp products into our body and then see where we're going wrong and where we need to tweak it a bit for the THC CBD levels. And that's how I think.
That's great. I came into the hemp industry in a real similar way to you, and that was I had a chronic illness. My chronic illness was post-traumatic stress disorder. When you have post-traumatic stress disorder, it's usually complicated with a number of other things that go along with it as well. Makes it really difficult to deal with. So, like, if you go to a doctor, there's no test that they can do for post-traumatic stress disorder, so they're unlikely to even diagnose it. But perhaps if you did get a diagnosis, they would give you a pill for that. And over the years, I would have spent about 20 years chronically ill in bed from the toxicity of the drugs that I was taking. And over a 20-year period, I got to see so many doctors come into my my purview of my situation, and none of them really gave a shit about what was going on, and they looked like they were just making stuff up as they were going along. And it got to a point where I just said, that's enough. I had enough. I'm not going to take any more. And then from that point onwards, I became interested in hemp because, like you, my story is like similar to yours in a way, because like you, somebody sent me something, and the person sent me this. It was it's called Green Fairy.
Beautiful.
And it sounds like it's a similar similar kind of a thing to your pink magic, but not quite fully there. But the type of person that would use that would actually, well, the type of people that use this are like 40 upwards, unless they got a chronic illness. In fact, even 50 upwards, people use that, and they use it because they're in pain, they got inflammation, they can't sleep, they got anxiety. And over a period of time, after working with this and selling it to people, I realized that there was actually a room in the market for taking this particular formulation, using it as a base, and then putting extra herbs into it. So
Amen. You've got it. You need the other herbs to make the beautiful. So that's what I found about bringing other herbs. I don't have a pure cannabis product. You need other herbs in there to actually bind them and amplify them. And it just, I explain it like a marriage.
yeah. Okay. So I had the same idea. So I thought, well, what kind of herbs could I put into that? And I really wanted to do some Māori herbs, some rongawa, but I didn't know. I didn't know too much about rongawa. On the other hand, I knew a lot about Ayurveda. So I've been studying Ayurveda for a number of years. And basically, Ayurveda is the ethnic medicine of India, and rongawa is the ethnic medicine of New Zealand, and traditional Chinese medicine is the rongawa of China. So everybody that hasn't been colonized by the medical system is going to have in their country some kind of ancient medical system like that. But as I'd had a lot of dealings with Ayurveda, I decided to use Ayurvedic herbs. They were easy to get a hold of, And plus there was a whole ton of research that had been done on these Ayurvedic herbs. So let me give you a for instance. So we produce this one. It's called Ashwagandha.
Yes.
And we market that as a rejuvenation and adaptogenic. So what does all that mean? It means that it helps you to adapt to stress. And what was the other one? Adaptogenic and rejuvenation. Yeah. So it helps you to adapt to stress, and it helps you to rejuvenate, which means that you feel, well, while you're taking it, you feel like you're going through distinctive physiological cycles.
Yep.
So when I say going through cycles, this would be what you call anabolic. So if you go to the gym, you have a workout, that's called catabolic, when you're breaking down your physical system. You're getting rid of cells that you don't need. And this particular product, it helps you to produce and regulate testosterone. So if you're a man and you're over 40, you're probably thinking, wow, I could do a bit of that. And you can.
I'm thinking about that for my hobby. We won't touch cannabis, but hemp might be okay.
Well, what happens is we sell a lot of that to gym people. And the reason that gym people use it is because they get stronger, their aerobic capacity increases. I've been on it quite a bit in the past, and it really produces testosterone, because about 4 o'clock in the morning, you get an erection, and that tells you that you've just been through a rejuvenation cycle. It's a sign that your testosterone is higher than what it would be, say, during the day. Yeah, anyway, so turns out we have a female equivalent of that product. So this one's hemp. It's the green fairy plus the herb that's called shatavari. Shatavari is ancient herb, just like ashwagandha, an adaptogenic and a rejuvenative that helps women to excel. So say that you're a woman and you're over 40 and you feel like, wow, I just feel weak, and I just feel confused, and I feel tired. I feel menopausal. Yeah, I'm feeling pretty grumpy. I'm snapping at people, whatever. So shatavari has been the go-to herb for Indian women for over 5,000 years. So at any time in the last 5,000 years, if you went to an Ayurvedic practitioner in India or anywhere in the world, and you said, I've got PMS, I've got menopausal symptoms, I've got a regular period, what can I do? They're going to turn straight to shatavari. And yes. So I figured that'd be a great companion with green fairy. So there you have it. Those are the two regeneratives, one for male and one for female. Yes, they do increase your libido, and they do increase your sports performance.
I love it. That's building up that wellness. That's building up that wellness that we all should actually be living in our optimum. That's why I think that they're holding hemp and cannabis back, because they know if we all got this in our body, we're actually going to be so well and happy and thriving that our failing medical system aren't going to be needed.
Yeah, or at the very least, needed a whole lot less.
I like them for the surgery. I actually have had to make my own medicine that I do not give out to public, because I got glaucoma. I've had an artificial eye implant done in here. Wow. And my pressure was living at 29 to 31, and so 4 of us had surgery in one day, and I'm the only big cannabis user, and the other 3 actually lost their eye. But I had to thrive through this incredible, excruciating healing journey while I made up this blueberry syrup for my eye, blueberry kush. And now my eye pressure is back down to 14, and the doctors couldn't save it at all with their pharmaceuticals. And they're telling me I should be blessed and grateful that cannabis saved my eye, because the other 3 that day lost it.
Well, I can say that cannabis has saved me. And my biggest problem was post-traumatic stress disorder. And within post-traumatic stress disorder, you can't have that without having anxiety and depression, chronic. And
Yeah.
so after 40 years of post-traumatic stress disorder, I can quite honestly say that I've got value out of another 2 products. So this one here.
You have in your line all up, love?
6.
Nice.
So this one's called Sleepy Time, and this has got three Ayurvedic herbs added to it. It's got Brahmi, Ashwagandha, and Shankpushpi. I know they're pretty far out names, but I've got to know the herbs really well, and I think if I had a daughter, I might call her Ashwagandha or Shankpushpi. I think they're cool names. Anyway, so this one has green fairy as the base, and then it has 3 extra herbs. And the 3 extra herbs are Brahmi, Ashwagandha, Shankpushpi. Now with Brahmi, if you lived in the last 5,000 years, we know this because there's records of it, and you went to a Ayurvedic practitioner, now even if you went like today and to a modern Ayurvedic practitioner, they're going to give you the same thing as what any other practitioner would. If you say that you've got anxiety, depression, or any kind of mental illness whatsoever, they're going to say to you, Brahmi. And
Brahmi.
yeah, and the reason why is because Brahmi tonifies the brain. It helps to calm everything down and get you focused and thinking properly. It's really good for people that have a busy mind. So say you got a busy mind, you're trying to go to sleep, and over and over and over, it's like your brain is acting independently with some kind of thought that you're wrestling with, and you prefer that it would just slow down and go to sleep.
Yeah, I understand this.
That's what Brahmi.
I do PTSD as well from all the medical procedures. That's where mine is triggered. I've learned what triggers it, and yeah.
So Brahmi is really, really fundamental to good brain health. And then we've got Ashwagandha. Ashwagandha is it weakens the effect of noradrenaline. And what that means is that if you're in a panic situation, and a lot of people that have anxiety have panic attacks, if you're in that situation, you don't go the full retard with it, because the Ashwagandha has this incredible cooling and anti-inflammatory effect, particularly on the central nervous system. And then we have Shankpushpi, a really powerful antioxidant known for reducing mental fatigue. And if you put those together in the right proportions into green fairy, you're going to get Sleepy Time. And
Nice.
people say to me, oh, well, you know, if it's Sleepy Time, I just take it at night, right? No, you take it just like any other products. You take it 3 times a day, just like it was food. And what happens is that at nighttime, when you want to feel sleepy, you will feel sleepy. And the reason is it helps you to build the melatonin in your body that helps you to feel sleepy, like you're going to go to sleep.
Yep.
Then we have this stuff, and that's called Relax. And it's a very, very similar product to the Sleepy Time, except this makes you feel relaxed during the day really nicely and focused, relaxed and focused, and able to perform.
Yes.
And then this one is pretty much the same thing, but it makes you sleepy at night as well. So when it's time to feel sleepy, you're going to feel sleepy.
Yeah.
So, and then I have one more. This one here, it's called Shield.
Shield.
Yeah, we decided to make that when the COVID first hit, because, you know, like even me, I was thinking, oh man, I got to go to a chemist and buy a mask and some vitamin C and some vitamin D and some vitamin A, and then I probably need to get some hand wash. And, you know, I was thinking like that, when all I had to do was just make sure that my immune system was strong. And this has got, hang on a sec, Shield immune support. It's got triphala, tulsi, and turmeric in it. The turmeric's going to be an antioxidant, anti-inflammatory. The tulsi is a really calming, herb. And then you have triphala, and the triphala is a group of 3 different fruits that are high in vitamins. So you put all of those together in a green fairy base, and you've got Shield. And Shield helps people to strengthen their immune system. Now, the kind of feedback that I get is, we really love this. You know, like if you're dying to go to sleep and you haven't had much sleep, you want to look at these 2, relax and sleepy time. And so I've become an expert in sleep because over the years I've been 40 years without sleep. And that was the actual driving force to drive me to do more research and to actually do what you said, and that's make my own food supplements.
Yeah, exactly. I know that when my body is in a bad state, I have to go and drink nettle tea and then apply that directly to the kidneys at the back of my body. But my instructions are 2 drops morning and night, sees me right. If I'm in pain, I'll go again. Such simple instructions.
Yeah, that actually sounds pretty cool.
It is. It's easier. I can say though.
Okay, how much is a bottle of that?
So it's 80 mils and it's $60 including post, unless you're rural.
That seems pretty reasonable.
And my balm is 60 mils. But actually, there's some that are going to get 65 because I couldn't get my jars over COVID, so they're going to win an extra 5. And it's $20. So I don't like making. I'm not about the money. I'm about people learning to be well for themselves, and I want to help them. So if they've got their own plants, and I know what's going on with their bodies and what's going on, I can help them make a recipe that's going to work for them and apply it through them. So I've got so many elderly onto coconut infused cannabis leaves and having a little bit in their coffee in the morning. They're now weeding their gardens. They are so happy to actually know that their little cute plant that they're growing, and yes, I did send them a seed for free because we are about sharing our knowledge and our love so we can all be well. And I love getting the feedback that they've infused their first medicine and they feel so great. Well, okay, some of them have said, oh God, I don't think I'm going to do that strong again. How do we make it weaker? But it was all experiment. And guess what? At least you're being responsible for yourself, eh?
Yeah. All right. So I'd like to wind it up there.
Absolutely.
What's your parting message, just quickly?
My parting message is whole mind, whole body, whole plant. But it all comes down to your mind being prepared to heal thyself.
Great. Okay, my parting message is homeostasis.co.nz. If you're interested, come over and subscribe to our newsletter, and I'll give you a free ebook. The ebook's called 55 Common Foods and Their Alternate Uses. Yes. Yeah. Yes. So it's a pretty cool book. It's a quick reference, and it's kind of book that, like, if you want to know what's the medicinal effect of celery or potatoes.
Whoa, absolutely.
You know, you can actually look that up and then find a recipe.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's a pretty cool book. Yep. And just quickly, my products are $69 a bottle for 50 mils.
Nice. Nice.
Right.
And what's your carrier oil? Can I ask?
Sorry, my what oil?
The carrier oil that you infuse it all into.
Oh, that's this Green Fairy.
But what's her carrier oil?
What's the carrier oil in this?
Yeah.
Hemp.
Hemp. Okay, yep. Mine is organic sunflower oil.